Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to Chiquis and Chill. I am so excited that you're here, especially because today I have someone that I absolutely admire. She is an inspiration to me. I haven't ever met her, and I haven't been following her for a very long time, but she captivated me. She is a best-selling author. She's an entrepreneur. She's the host of one of my favorite podcasts, A Really Good Cry. Hopefully I can get on there. And I want you guys to help me welcome Radhi Devlukia. Welcome to Radhi. Please, you guys, give her a round of applause.
Thanks.
You guys, first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I will be honest, I just started following you, and I started following you not so long ago because of my husband.
Yes.
Because he I shot you, right, for I believe it's called, what is it called?
Lip tinted.
Yes, lip tinted. And he told me, he's like, I think this girl's energy, and he's like, I started following her. He's like, he showed me your page. I was like, oh my gosh, yes. He's like, you should have her on the pod. I was like, okay. I was like, but wait, let me follow her. And I started looking at your stuff, and I completely fell in love with your content, with your personality, with what you radiate. And let me tell you, I'm going to get emotional, guys, because we talk about this on the pod a lot. I feel like we're living in a society that is being given so much junk, you know, on social media. So it's so refreshing to see your stuff.
That means so much.
Like,
First
honestly,
of all,
it gets me emotional because I'm like, oh, it's a breath of fresh air. So, yeah.
You have the best energy. Since the moment I walked in here, I was like, you make everyone feel so comfortable.
She just said that.
You
oh my God.
really do.
Thank
You have this calming, kind, and genuine nature. So I feel like you just see that in me because it's in you. But thank you for that. And I really appreciate it. I think it's really difficult sometimes to know how people are perceiving what you're putting out there, because there's a lot of haters out there too. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I truly mean it. And I don't say that lightly, because there's not a lot of people that inspire me anymore, you know, and I'm going through a shift. I feel like something is happening in my life, in my career, in my personal life. Oh my gosh, what is going on? Okay, anyways, I'm just gonna drink a little bit of Junie.
Oh my gosh, no, but this is, you know, my podcast is called A Really Good Cry for this
love
reason.
It. Yes.
Because I cry all the time. So I'm like, let the emotions flow.
Okay, awesome. So this is why I wanted you on the pod, because everything that you talk about on your social media, and you know, it's spirituality. I try my best to be as positive as I possibly can on socials. I feel like if we have this opportunity, I want to share good things, you know? And so I feel like I have, positivity. I can always learn more. Spirituality, I feel like I got it down, but I can always learn more. But food, when I saw your cookbook, and I saw you, because I love Cafe Gratitude.
Yes, me too.
Yes, I love Cafe Gratitude. Emilio, my husband, was the one that introduced me to Cafe Gratitude, and I loved it. And I saw that you had a collaboration with them.
I did.
So I dug, and I was like, oh, it's her cookbook, Joyful, which I love the name, Joyful. And I'm like, why did I think of that? But I started seeing you've been vegan, right, for 10 years.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that? Is it more to like for the animals? Is it health? What was it?
So I was actually born into a vegetarian family. So like my parents were vegetarian, my grandparents were vegetarian. So I have like a lineage of vegetarians in my life. And then when I was, how old was I? This was about 10 or maybe 11 years ago, my sister read this book called Eating Animals by James Safran.
Okay.
And it just told me things that, so I already didn't eat meat, but I was still having dairy. And then I read things that I just could not unread about how, one, the animals were treated. And two, also just the links between health conditions and dairy, and how the dairy industry has just really declined, and the quality. It's like, I think milk is actually probably a very nutritious substance that comes from an animal. The problem is, depending on how you treat the animal, just like us, the quality of what we give out to people, to other people around us, energetically, physically, emotionally, is a result of what we have fed ourselves. And so in the same way, when you're feeding an animal stuff that is not supposed to be fed, the quality of what comes out, it's like you are then receiving pus, hormones, blood, all this stuff in your dairy produce that you don't even realize. And so what you think it's doing for your body, it's actually not. So milk is amazing. What we're getting from the dairy industry, not so much. And so it was a mixture of reasons, but I just fell in love with animals. And I really just believe that there is a soul in every single thing, from a little ant to a human. And I just think if we can if I can sustain my body without it, then I'm going to try to. And then it's kind of been 10 years and I haven't missed it. So.
Yeah, and you feel like, I'm assuming, amazing. You look great. Your skin is phenomenal.
Thank you. So is yours.
Wow. But I have a little bit of makeup on. You don't.
I don't have makeup on, but it's also... But
isn't it like...
Thank you.
Yeah. And I truly believe it has a lot to do with what we eat.
It does. And, you know, dairy did make a big difference, but dairy and sugar are two things that make the hugest difference to my... Dairy, sugar, and oil. Those three things are like, if you have too much of any of them, they just are skin leeches.
Dairy, sugar, and oil.
Yeah.
Okay. Because see, that's why I wanted to talk to you about like food, so many things, but like the food, because I have felt it in my soul for a long time to be vegetarian.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I have, and I tried it, and I did pescatarian for a while, and then my mercury was like high, and they're like, oh no, you need to like, so I didn't do that. Then I was like, okay. The hardest thing has been to let go of cheese.
Cheese was the hardest thing for me.
I love cheese.
So when I decided to do it, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it slowly because I want it to be sustainable. I want to make sure I can do it. Cheese was the last thing. I remember the day before, I was like, cheese is the last thing I'm giving up, especially in the UK, because cheese there is amazing, like extra mature cheddar cheese.
Creamy.
So good. But I agree. It is a hard change, especially, by the way, if someone's grown up eating meat and then trying to cut out meat and dairy, one, what a shock to your system. And two, it's such a difficult cultural change. For me, it was a little bit easier. Like eventually, now my whole family's vegan. And so it's so easy. When I go home, it's vegan food. When I go out with them, we don't have to pick what restaurant we're going to. Whereas culturally, it can be really difficult. So I always say to people, I'm like, try a few plant-based days first. Yeah. You don't have to go all in straight away. Like little by little. Little by little. Decide like a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday. That's when I'm going to eat just plant-based. I'm not going to have any dairy, no meat products. See how your body feels. See how it reacts, because I also think we have this like lack of tuning into our body to see how it actually feels. And I always say, like in Ayurveda, there's like 3 different types of foods that you can eat, or different things that you can, different categories. There's mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. That's how they kind of categorize. Everything from what you hear to what you're eating can fit into those modes. And so food, when you're eating it, should make you feel like you have vitality in your body. It should give you energy. It should make you feel vibrant. Right. When you're eating and it's causing digestive issues, it's causing skin issues, it's making you feel sluggish, it's making you feel worn out. How is that giving yourself vitality? It's not. It's not. And so a lot of it is just like listening and tuning in, like what is making me feel good when I eat it? And really swaying towards those things. So do you recommend maybe keeping a food journal? Like, because I tried that a long time ago, because I was trying to figure out, okay, what's causing me so many digestive issues, my rosacea, like what flares it up? And I tried doing it. It takes a little bit of work, but I think like when you're really committed and you want something, you'll take that extra step. But I really like, I'm telling you, there's this shift coming, and I know that this is what I need to do for the rest of like my life. I've had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of red meat. I've had a lot of cheese. Like I told Emilio, I was like, I really want to try this. Like I want to be vegetarian. And again, culturally, it's very difficult because as Mexicans, as Latinos, we eat a lot of red meat, a lot of pork. I don't eat pork. I left pork a long time ago. I try my best not to eat it. But I think slowly I just have to like you said, take baby steps and maybe keep like a journal, guys, like if you guys want to do this or not, but I'm saying like to kind of see what is it that I ate that made me not feel so good. Exactly. And digestively and then energetically of like, how am I feeling in my energy? Because food should bring us energy when we're eating it. Definitely a food diary. I remember when I was a dietitian, I would always recommend that. I'm like, okay, the first thing we're going to do is a food and symptom diary. Eat the food, see how you feel 2 to 3 hours later and immediately. Yes. But yeah, I will also say it's a shift, and I think it's possible. I think it's possible for everybody. Yeah. But take your time with it and give yourself grace with it. Yeah. And also come over to my house and I'm going to feed you. Oh, thank you. I saw everything you cook and I'm like, oh my gosh. Definitely cooking for you. So delicious. It looks so good. Do you drink alcohol? No, right? I don't. I actually have never drunk alcohol. Really? Yeah. It's honestly because this is what I believe in, like past lives. This is just part of my culture. And I'm like, you know what? I think what happened was I must have gone hard in my last life. And in this life, I just don't like desire any. But I always said if I wanted to, I would. And then I had like some people who are alcoholics in my life. Its addiction is like kind of in my family, and little things that happen along the way, like people that I was really close to when I was younger. I was like, I don't know, it's just not for me.
It's not your.
And then I got to this age, and I was like, well, I'm past my party age, and now I want to be in bed by like 10 o'clock. I think there's no need now.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's another thing. That's probably another reason why your skin looks so amazing. That's another thing that I'm kind of like, you know, what I do for work, and I'm on stage, and the type of music that I sing. It's really a part of the culture is the drinking, and I tried the pretending to drink, and then I felt like I was being
dishonest.
Dishonest, and that didn't feel good either. So I don't know, I just felt very like inspired because I saw that you made mocktails as well with Junie, and I thought, oh my gosh. Well, by the way, guys, Junie is her company. She's an entrepreneur as well. Sorry, I'm just saying because I drink them all the time. And I love them because they're like sugar-free, right? They have, what is it? They have lion's mane, which is amazing.
They're sugar-free, and they have adaptogens and nootropics in it. So adaptogens and nootropics are basically plant extracts that help you with mood, focus, energy, all the things that you probably want to feel during the day. So, and it's got green tea in it. So instead of it being caffeine from like a coffee source, you get caffeine from green tea, which also has antioxidants.
Yes.
So I really wanted to just create a drink that, you know, it feels like you're indulging, but also at the same time, you're fueling your body with things that it probably needs, and your mind with things that it needs.
Right. When I come to the podcast on my way here, I'll take one because it's like I need to use my brain. Yeah. And I don't know, I feel like I feel better.
I'm glad.
And I'm like, okay, it has zero sugar. And I try my best not to like, for a long time, for like a year, almost 2 years, I wasn't drinking any soda. Just recently, I started craving it a lot. And I was like, oh, so this has saved my life.
I'm going to send you the decaf on the new flavors. I think you're going to love them.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, because I was like, okay, she makes mocktails. So I'm assuming she doesn't drink alcohol, which is awesome. Okay, so we talked a little bit about food. In your book, are those recipes that you have from like family? Is it because you're self-taught?
Yes, I am. Awesome. I'm self-taught and mum-taught. My mum and my grandma are phenomenal cooks, and I grew up just on, and I'm sure you can relate to this with your culture, so much flavor infused into the food, spices, herbs, like just packed with flavor. And so I think my palate really was quite refined from a young age, and my mom would try different cuisines wherever we traveled to. She would bring it back to our house through the food that we were eating, and so every week she'd be trying new recipes, experimenting. At the same time, she was also a fitness instructor, and so she was quite mindful about like the type of food we were eating, how healthy it was. And so I definitely grew up around, I was lucky to grow up around people who really knew how to throw it down in the kitchen.
Yeah. See,
that makes a difference.
Yeah, for sure.
And so the recipes are a combination of, everything from my parents, my sister threw some in, but also experimenting on how can I bring these Eastern spices, which are so healing and so good for you in terms of like medicinally and for your body, but bring it into Western culture where it's not just Indian food you're eating. How can we incorporate these spices into day-to-day foods? Like I have a tandoori jackfruit taco in there. So it's like, okay, you're used to eating tacos, but how can I throw a little bit more, like something that you haven't had before in with it? Yeah. So it's a fusion of cuisines, a fusion of flavors, a mix of comfort food, healthy salads, just like everything that you'd want to flick through.
And it's good for you. So I'm definitely, I think that's going to be my number one thing for the new year, to kind of like get the book and maybe I'll start there little by little, guys, little by little.
We'll start by you coming over. You could taste the food before you eat. Before you buy the book, you can be like, okay, I'm going to taste it. If I like it, I'll make it.
And spirituality, talk to me about, has that been a part of your life forever? Because in my culture, I grew up like Christian and like the whole thing. And I don't necessarily, I always say this, like I don't necessarily consider myself a religious person. I respect all religions. I'll go to any type of church, but I'm more spiritual. And I'm more of like the meditation. And I feel like I want to tap more into that. So I don't know. I wanted to kind of know more about your spirituality. And it feels like it comes from your you probably were born into it. I
was born into a religion. So I was born into Hinduism.
Okay.
And one thing I found was, and I'm sure maybe you can relate from what you said, that when you're born into something, you end up doing things ritualistically. Like very methodically, like my parents are lighting a candle, I'm going to light a candle. Right. My parents are saying these mantras, I'm going to say this mantra. And I got to like my teenage years and I was like, why am I doing any of this? Like, I actually don't know whether I have a deep connection to this. Yes, I believe in God. But like, what are my practices that I'm doing that truly connects me to God? And I wasn't sure whether what I was doing was actually just because my parents did it, my grandparents did it, and I'm just going through life as you sometimes do mechanically.
Same, yeah.
But like, I remember reading this thing where spiritual is when your spirit and your heart is in the ritual. Otherwise, it's just ritualistic. Otherwise, it's just mechanical.
Yes.
But the whole point of spirituality is my heart in this ritual? Is my heart in this practice? And so I really started seeking so deeply because I was like, I don't know whether I feel like I'm connected to God. I know I believe in God, but like, what is that? What is that connection? What am I supposed to be feeling? Because right now I'm not feeling.
Yes.
And so my mum actually... again, was born into Hinduism, but she started like feeling the same way. And so she wanted to start volunteering at temples. And we would go there. We would go to our religious place for festivals and like just show up, when we had to.
Yeah.
Not because I wanted to be there. It would be like, okay, it's Diwali is one of our celebrations. It's like, okay, Diwali is one of our festivals. It's like our Christmas. I'm going to show up to the temple for this. But my mum really started seeking. And so she started volunteering at the temple that was nearby to us. And she mentioned to somebody that I was looking for a spiritual group, that I really wanted to be part of something. And so I got involved with the youth group of that community.
Okay.
And it was there where I really understood like why I was doing what I was doing and what I connected to about it. And I have to agree with you in the sense that I appreciate Hinduism for everything that it is. But I'm not the biggest fan of religious institutions. And I think that it really like, one thing I found, my spiritual teacher, Radhi Devlukia, I always, when you're in part of a religious institution, you think my religion is the best religion. That's how a lot of people are brought up. My religion is superior to other religions.
It's the correct one. It's the right one.
But like spirituality is about equality and loving everybody. So how in the world can one religion be superior? What? Because you're saying that your path to connect to God is better than another person's path to connect to God. But we're all so different. So how can we not connect to God differently?
Yeah.
And so I started really seeing that as I was growing up. And I was like, how does that make sense? My spiritual teacher went through so many different religious practices, and all he talks about is how each one has taught him so much. All he talks about is respect for every single religion. All he talks about is how we are all, like the tradition that I now follow in spirituality is called bhakti. It means love. And he's just like, every single religion is just teaching us how to love God. So how can there be a negative to any of them?
Yeah.
And so when I heard that and the way that I've seen him live and practice, I'm like, that's really what the goal is. To feel equality in everybody, to really love and be kind and compassionate to people. That's what spirituality is about. That's what religion is supposed to be about. All the things we now see in religion, unfortunately, are man-made. Like women not being able to do this and this being, and it's like, okay, but who really came up with that? Is that in scripture, or are you just making it into religion? Making your own religion.
I agree.
And so, I think I really evolved into... I take parts of Hinduism that I absolutely love, and really I just go back to the text. Like I truly believe in meditation is a part of my life every single day, has been for the past 10 years, has transformed so much of my life and my connection to God. It is the time that I feel like I am able to take a moment to not just connect with me, but connect with something other than me.
Yes.
And like I spend my whole day being focused around me and my selfish mindset, constantly about me. And meditation is like, how can I connect to something other than myself? And so that practice has really fueled me. Please, I want to hear your experience too.
Like you're speaking and I'm just like, yes, like you get it, which is why like I didn't know how to put it into words. Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, we talk about it here all the time, and meditation is a huge part of my life as well, because it also...
What kind of meditation do you do?
I was doing guided meditation for a while, because that's how I got into it. I'm like, okay, let me, it was very hard to stay focused. And then I stopped doing the guided meditation. I just put meditation music on. And that was, I just would sit. I would just sit.
Amazing.
And just breathe. I would do the block, the block breathing, is it called? Yes, the block breathing. And that really helped me just kind of get my mind. Now I'm getting to the point where I don't have to, I enjoy being in complete silence.
That's a powerful place to be.
Yes. It took a little bit to get there, though, 2 years.
Oh, of course it does.
So I was just like, my friends, I'm like, meditate. I can't. I'm like, just try 2 minutes. Just do 2 minutes, like little by little, you'll build it up. It's a muscle.
And the process that you've gone through, which is great, because you're saying, yeah, it took me 2 years to get to the point of even sitting with my thoughts. And it really does. Imagine how much we absorb every single day.
Yes.
The amount of busyness that we absorb through what we see, what we hear, what we're experiencing. So of course, when you're sitting down I remember my teacher would always say, I would be like, well, I'm getting so distracted and I can't concentrate. And he's like, but what are you doing the other 21 hours?
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh, sorry. What are you doing the other 23 hours of your day? 21 hours. What are you doing the other 23 hours of your day? Is it supporting your practice? Are you doing things that actually allow you to sit into that space? Because that 1 hour is 1 hour. What you're telling yourself is, for that 1 hour, I'm going to be so focused. I'm going to like have nothing in my mind. But what other things are you doing throughout the day that's supporting you to be able to do that? And I was like, that is so true. Like, am I watching things that are actually causing me anxiety? Am I listening to things that are actually causing me anxiety? Am I speaking to people that are speaking negativity into my life? Like, what am I doing to support that 1 hour meditation practice? And there are so many different types of meditation. I have to invite you next time. We do this singing meditation. We just had one recently. Ooh. And it is beautiful. It's music meditation with mantras. And people start by sitting quietly. And by the end of it, everyone's up dancing and like having the best time, but all in a meditative spirit.
Please tell me next time.
Oh, I'm 100% inviting you.
That is amazing.
But there are so many different types of meditation.
Okay, see, I'm barely, I feel like getting into it. That's why I was
you've already done 3 different types.
So see, and without even like, okay, I'm like, okay, I have to let it go. Like,
you've moved through different versions when you were at different places in your life. And that's, I think sometimes people get meditation really wrong. They're like, okay, I have to be cross-legged and I have to be sat here. And I noticed that even about prayer, people think in prayer, you have to be on your knees or you have to be sat down. And I'm like, you can be in prayer or meditation at every moment.
Yeah. I'm driving and I'm praying.
Exactly.
Not with my eyes closed, obviously, guys, but like I'm like,
you're having a conversation.
Yep, absolutely.
You're
I'm
choosing
connecting
to be in connection. And so I actually think like prayer and meditation is not I have one space. Look, I have a space that I sit in when I meditate. I do think that there is value in creating spaces for things. They hold energy.
Yes.
And so yes, I have a place where I know that when I go into this space and I smell this smell and I sit on this thing, that is a time to get into meditation. But there is also opportunity to be in meditation when you're driving. To be in meditation when you're sitting and you're feeling a little bit sad. Like, instead of sitting in it, you could be connecting. And so I think people have a perception of meditation because of how we see it on movies and whatever, and the yoga scene that is there in LA. It's like, it's not all and like just sitting in cross-legged position.
No, sometimes I'll even do it lying down. Like, I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna lie down. Or
I love a good sleep meditation.
Sometimes I fall asleep, guys.
Exactly.
Like, I'm so relaxed, and I just I'm so relaxed. Are there times still, now that you've been meditating for 10 years, are there times where it's difficult for you to get into it, or time where you're like, I don't feel like it?
Months and months of it.
Yeah. Okay.
I will show up to the practice, and there are times where I'm physically there, but not mentally or emotionally. There are times where I fall off the practice and I'm like, oh God, I feel horrible, but I can't get back to it. And then I feel guilty for not going into it, for not being in my practice. And then that makes me stay away from it further, because I'm like, I don't even want to show up because I've been away for so long. I feel like you think that once you're meditating, life just goes like this. But actually, what meditation does, and I love this analogy, it says that our heart is like a mirror that's dusty. And what meditation does is it starts to like clean that mirror gently. It starts to help you see yourself. But that's just the beginning, because when you start seeing yourself, that's when all the crap comes up. You're like, you start seeing all the things that you want to change about yourself. You start seeing all the things that you need to be working on. You start seeing different parts of your life for what it really is. And so meditation really just brings to life and light what you need to be working on. And so there are so many times where I feel like this practice is an ebb and a flow. It's and slowly going up, but really it's this. Because
there are times, that I'm like, it takes a bit of a struggle, you know. It might be because I'm physically like fatigued, or mentally, I don't know. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so hard today. I'm like, okay, thank you God so much for this day. I love you. Exactly. That's all I can say today, you know.
That's me too.
Okay,
I've started this practice that now every morning I wake up. My mum does this in her prayer, and I realized that I wanted to start practicing it. But just in case I don't make it to my meditation, let me do it from the moment I wake up. And it's like, thank you for this breath. Like, thank you so much that I've woken up and that I'm even able to see. Like, thank you for like, let me have this day. Thank you for letting me have this day.
Yeah.
And from that point on, it's like everything is a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yes, crap comes and you feel horrible and you go through days where people are mean to you and you go through really emotional, traumatic times. But just waking up in the morning being like, thank you, God, for this. Like, I needed to wake up today, and I'm so happy that you let me.
Yeah,
I'm so
she
happy
gets
that I'm
it, guys. Okay, going back to a little bit, backtracking to the food. Okay, I have this thing, and I don't know if this is just, I think you probably said it. I want to make sure I understood correctly, but I've thought about like the animals that we eat. Like, what if they had, for instance, like a chicken, you know, they're very nervous and stuff. And what if they had a really bad life and like they like, I don't know. And I'm eating that. And I feel like, what if those emotions, is that crazy to think? Or
No, it's absolutely true.
Okay. Cause I was
like, the energy of like the suffering that an animal has felt when you eat it, you are eating that suffering. And I don't even mean, let's say you don't even believe that energetically.
Okay.
When we are all in trauma, even as humans, our body holds the trauma as physical pain. It actually, our arteries, our cellular composition changes when our body is in stress. So even if you don't believe on an energetic level that you are eating this animal suffering, on a physical level, you are eating an animal at its worst state because it is in anxiety, it's being pumped with hormones. Like, the amount of trauma that this animal is feeling ends up showing up physically. And so you are then eating an animal not even at its prime state. You're not even getting like good quality meat when you're eating it.
Yeah.
You're getting low quality because the animal has been in distress for so long. It's been fed things that is making it grow up faster than it's supposed to, get bigger faster than it's supposed to. So the quality isn't even there.
Yeah, which also causes a lot of diseases and like so many things in our bodies.
And the animals get diseases and we don't even realize.
Yeah.
And so energetically, you know, it even says that the food, when you're cooking it, I listen to devotional music when I cook or spiritual music when I cook. Because when I studied Ayurveda, it's such a beautiful practice. And every time I think about like rocking out to something or like putting other music on, I'm like, oh, I can't unremember this fact that the energy that's even around the food. That's why I'm so particular. Even when I eat out, I'm like, the energy that is put into the food of the way it's cooked. Why do we love our mom's food so much? Or like, let's say anybody in your life that you know has fed you. The amount of love that is poured into that food. That's why when you make it again, it's never the same. You try and remake your mom's recipe or your grandma's recipe that loves you with their dear life. There is no way you can make it the same, even if you get every single ingredient right.
Yeah.
And the fact is, whatever energy is poured into the food, like I try not to cook when I'm feeling really angry, or like try not to cook when I've got like certain things in my mind. One, it never turns out right. But two, energetically, whoever I'm feeding this food to is receiving that through the food. And so even energetically when we're cooking, let alone eating animal suffering, just even if you're cooking plants and vegetables, it's like, well, what am I infusing into this during the cooking process? Yeah. That's how deep it can get.
Dude, that is so crazy.
Right?
Because now
but also powerful. Because like so I can feed you love. Like I can feed you positive energy and I can feed you nourishment so that it nourishes beyond just your body. And that's so powerful.
Absolutely. And that's, I mean, because when I'm salty, I'm having a salty day and my food comes out real salty, you know? So I'm just like, you know, that's so true. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try cooking because I haven't been cooking a lot because I've been so busy, but I want to start doing it more. Emilio's been asking me. So I want to maybe like meditation music or what kind of music did you say? Spirit,
I'll send you my playlist.
Okay,
I feel like you are going to love it.
Oh my God, yes, please. Because I think that's important. Even what people like, I obviously enjoy people cooking for me. I'd much rather people cook for me. But even then, I feel like it's important to take care of that aspect. Like who is, you know, like you said, like making your food and like praying over your food.
Exactly.
Praying over what you drink because it's like, hey, God, just bless this food. There's a lot of power in that.
There is.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think there are so many people who are skeptical about whenever you talk about energy or whenever we talk about things like this. And I've noticed that we are so skeptical over things that do no harm, but not skeptical over things that do so much harm in the world. Like there are so many things in the world, whether it's pharmaceutical companies, whether it's, you can name it. Most of the things in the world are harming us more than they're doing good. Yeah. But for some reason, we're not skeptical about that. But when it comes to things that have the possibility, that are free and have the possibility to enhance our life in some way, we're like, oh, where's the evidence? I'm like, the evidence is in how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Why does everything need to be on paper?
Yes.
And also a lot of those papers that have evidence are biased in some way and aren't even great, aren't actual evidence. And so I'm like, just try it.
Yeah.
The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in how you are feeling and you tuning into that.
And talking about trying it, like, you know, because I'm working out a lot, I'm doing weights. So like my trainer's
you
like
look
about
great.
Thank you so much. I feel really, really good, but I have been eating more protein because that's what he's like, eat more protein, eat more meat. But I have, and I like how I'm feeling. But sometimes it's a lot for my digestive system, especially the red meat. And I didn't eat red meat for years, and now I'm like absolutely loving it. But I want to like feel better in my tummy because my tummy has not been good. So are there, obviously we're gonna learn about this, I'm sure in your book as well. Like there is a lot of people think that, oh, you're just gonna eat grains and all this is like what kind of protein are you going to get in a vegan diet?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've also been trying to eat a lot more protein. So right now I'm on like 140 grams a day or something.
Because you've been running a lot, right?
I've been running a lot, but I also weight train like 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay, so
so I really wanted to see, and I've got a lot of friends who are vegan bodybuilders, and I've seen that it is possible to like hit your protein and build muscle while doing it. Obviously, every body type is different, but there are so many different sources. Oh my gosh, there's like tempeh, soya beans, tofu, lentils, beans, mushrooms.
I didn't know there was weird. I'm sorry, I should have known this, but I didn't know that there was so much protein in beans, and I love beans.
Yeah,
so
me too.
Yeah.
And by the way, like sometimes what people will argue is that, you know, vegan sources are not complete proteins. But I tell you what is a complete protein: rice and beans. Rice and beans together have all the amino acids required to be a complete protein. So yeah, you may not be able to have, you may not have one thing and it has your complete amino acid thing like meat might, but you combine 2 things and you've got it. And so really it's just a bit more effort into like figuring out how much protein is in this, how much protein is in this. And they also say sometimes the protein in meat isn't as available or bioavailable or absorbed into your body as coming from a plant source. Because if you think about it, an animal gets their protein source from plants. They create the protein in their body from eating the plants that they eat. And so really when you're ending up going to the source, you get a more available form of protein.
So it's just being patient and taking the time, right? Little by little.
I'll send you my cheat sheet of protein from different places.
Oh my gosh, you have a lot of things to send me, okay? Because I'm like really serious about this.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Hold me to it.
Do you have siblings, Radhi?
I do. I have one older, amazing sister.
Oh,
yeah.
I love it.
An older sister. She's 4 years older than me. She has she's birthed 2 of my favorite people in the whole entire world. My niece and my nephew. They are awesome. Incredible. And she's wonderful. She's in the UK. Okay. So we have a long distance relationship.
But thank goodness for technology. You guys could, FaceTime.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I ask how old you are?
Yeah, I'm 34.
You're 34? Okay, nice.
How about you?
I'm 39. I'll be 40 next year.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
So,
congratulations.
Thank
you made it to 40.
Yes, and that's the thing. I think because I'm approaching 40, I'm like, okay, I want the next part of my life to really like things that I've just, put on the back burner for the sake of entertainment or being in I don't know, like I'm so ready to say, okay, I've been working towards this, especially with my food. I've always had a unique relationship, should I say, with food. It was diets for a long time. It was, I did keto, and then I didn't like how I lost weight, but then I was like, oh, something's just not feeling right in my body. And then I'm like, okay, portion control. I learned that. That's what's been helping me the most, is the portion control. Is I can have a little bit of everything, but just a little. And now I'm like, I'm ready to really dive into this thing that has been calling me for a long time. Because I did the vegetarian, but I wasn't doing the vegan. So I think I'm going to probably start with vegetarian.
I think you should,
and then slowly get into the vegan.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay.
And I will also, I completely agree with you with portion control, because a lot of the time, since starting my spiritual journey, and also just when you are disciplined, people think that you are being restrictive. But actually, discipline is so much more freedom than living a life where you are controlled by other things. And so like when you're controlled, for me, I have had a similar relationship with food. I've always felt like I was controlled by food, controlled with my emotion. My emotions were directly linked to the food I was eating. If I was happy, I'm eating. If I'm sad, I'm eating. If I'm angry, I'm eating. And I was like, or if I'm having a hard day, okay, I need some sugar. I need like some carbohydrates. I need something that's fatty, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, when you end up feeling controlled by something, that is the worst feeling. And so actually being disciplined creates so much more freedom because you have the choice to say no.
The choice, yeah.
If I want to have a dessert, now I'll have it. I've been like, one of the things I was struggling with recently was sugar. Like I was so stressed out and I was just eating. I had a really hectic schedule. And it became very normal for me to have something sweet after every single meal. Like I was just craving sweetness in my life. Like all I wanted was a quick fix.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to a point where my skin started suffering. My body was feeling lethargic. I was waking up feeling horrible. And I was like, I calculated how much sugar I was having in my day. And I was like, this is ridiculous. And I didn't realize. Because I was like a little bird. I was having a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I have to nip this in the bud because I'm not addicted to anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sugar's any different, but it's just not.
Yeah.
It's just as addictive. So I decided, and every single time I would usually fail on the first day because I just couldn't do it. This time it's been like, 25 days? And I've been like without any processed sugar.
Wow.
And I cannot tell you how freeing it feels, where I can sit in front of people and I can have a gathering. Usually for me it's groups. I love inviting people over. I love hosting. And when I do that, I'm like, let's order this and let's make this and let's do this. But I'm like, I can enjoy, one, I can feed people healthy options.
Mm-hmm.
And two, I don't have to link my joy in spending time with them to having something, to enjoying a meal with them in that way.
Yes.
And so
do you feel a lot of mental clarity too?
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Sugar is so bad for our brain, guys.
It's so bad. So, but I had to find alternatives. Like I made a decision. I thought I would fail on day one. After day one, I was like, wow, I did this. And then day two, I was like, oh my gosh, I did day two. And the more you commit to it, the more it encourages you to keep going. And so now I'm like, if I feel like something, I'll have it. But it's changed my whole palate. I just don't crave it anymore. And when people used to tell me that, I used to think that they were just secretly binging. Because I was like, there's no way that you don't want to eat this dessert right now. What do you mean?
So it's like no processed sugar, but you can have like, you're having like fruits.
I'm having fruits.
Okay, nice.
And what I realized that really helped me was I started poaching fruit or like cooking fruit down. And so I'd make like peaches and I'd stew them. And then I'd have that with like a bit of yogurt. And it really satisfied my sweet craving. But also I was having fruit, which was great. And now I'm like, if I want a dessert, I'll have it. But even then I'm eating and I'm like, oh, this is so sweet. And I had this one order that I would always do when I would go to this like frozen yogurt place called Yogurt. It's amazing. But I would have like brownies, chocolate fudge, sprinkles, like all the things. Now I have like, I think if I had a bite, I would probably go into a sugar coma because I had built up my tolerance to it so much.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
But yeah.
So you think what clicked is probably that feeling of I feel accomplished. Like this is like
that one day. You make it to that one. It's like when you make it to the gym that one day, you're like, God, I feel amazing. And so now what I've learned to do is rather than worrying about what I'm feeling now, think about how I'm going to feel in 24 hours. And so I'm like, am I going to feel good when I wake up in the morning?
I like that.
And what can I do now to make myself feel good in tomorrow, in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time? What I'm doing now is defining what that's going to feel like in the future. And so like sometimes our temporary emotions guide us, but I think living in the temporary is what causes sometimes permanent pain. And so I've really tried to like strip that away. It's hard though.
For you it's sugar, for me it's alcohol.
Oh, okay.
It's tequila, because not only, that's the thing, I don't like how it makes me feel the next day or how it makes my skin look, because I could see my fine lines a little more the next day.
You're dehydrated. You're like a prune.
Yes, honestly. And I'm like, I'm like, if the first thing that made me want to stop drinking is like, oh my God, my body's getting old and I want to age gracefully and the whole thing, But it got to the point where for work, but then I couldn't like be invited to a party and I'm like, oh, everyone else is drinking and I'm not drinking.
It's
and
social.
Fine, I'll take, yes, it's a thing. I want to practice that discipline to feel like I can still go have a freaking good time and not need to have a tequila. Before it was like, I know I don't really want it, but I need it.
Yes.
And that's where I was like, this is an issue because it's not even like, oh, I'm going to have a drink because I really just want it. It's I need it because if not, I can't like mingle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's not good.
No, and your personality is so fun, by the way.
Thanks, man. And all I'm drinking is this. And I'm like, no, I think it's the conversation too, because I'm just like,
I will tell you though, being the sober person around lots of drunk people is a nightmare.
Is it fun? Oh, I was like, really?
It's fun when you're watching it, and then it gets to a point where the conversations are just like,
You're
okay,
like, oh my
you're
gosh.
not going to remember this, and you're having a conversation different to me, but we're in the same conversation. And so I can totally understand why you find it difficult, because having been sober my whole life and not having drunk, it's a difficult scene to navigate. Yeah. Especially when you're going out and doing the things that you're doing. Like, it's so hard. You just want to be participating, and you almost feel like you're not participating if you're not in the same state of mind.
For sure.
But just know that you are just as fun. I think you will have so much fun without it.
I think I'm like, I'm fun. I'm cool. I don't need the alcohol to, like, you know, even in like on stage. I'm like, you know what? Because that's like my job.
Does it calm your nerves a bit?
Honestly, it just makes it funner for me because they're drinking. And that the type of music that I sing is in reality, my job is to get them drunk.
Right.
But then I feel then the other side of me, that's very Chiquis, right? Because Chiquis is, you know, Chiquis is like the entertainer. And then there's Janae, a more spiritual person. I think, dude, but am I really?
Is that your name, Janae?
Janae is my, it's my birth name.
Oh, amazing.
So I feel like Janae is more spiritual. And I think, what am I doing to these people? Like, I'm getting them drunk. And I'm like, you guys, please put on your seatbelts. After like getting them drunk, I'm like, put on your seatbelts, get an Uber. Like, I'm like, pray. And I'm like, so I feel like I'm being pulled in two different directions sometimes. So now I'm like, wait a second, I need to just sit down and what do I really want? What is my soul asking for? And that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, I love what I do. I'm so grateful with everything that my career has given me. I'm so grateful. But now I'm like, I can still do it, but I can do it in a different way.
Yeah.
And what does that look like? And that's kind of where I'm at.
And duality too. Like, I think we're always so used to in this world, you're either this or you're this. And people really struggle. And I don't know whether you felt this since you've become more and more well known, where people don't want you to be two things. You're either this or you're this. And as soon as you show this like flow of being in between or even being two at once, it's like, I can be happy online, but I can also still be sad about something that's happening in my life. That's not me faking it. That's me allowing duality to happen in my life. Yes. Two things can be possible at the same time. And so you can be Chiquis and you can also be Janae.
Yeah.
And both can be true. It doesn't mean these are with such, like, we have so many different personalities within one person.
Yes.
So many different like lifetimes within one lifetime. And so I think I agree, you grow and you change. And so maybe you do want to move into a different space. Yeah. But I also think you're still being authentic because there's two different sides of you.
And I've always been very open about it.
Yeah.
You know? And I learned that in 2018 when I had a burnout. And I was like, okay, in order to keep doing what I'm doing, I need to like be truthful about there's Chiquis and there's Janae and there's this is who I am, and you're gonna get a little bit of everything because that's who I am. Like I like to party, but then I love to pray, and people will ask, well, oh my gosh, you like to pray and you like to meditate and you like candles, but then you cuss or you. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I do want to get better at the cursing just for my own sake because sometimes I don't like how it feels.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but still, that's me, and I'm not gonna fake the funk. But now I'm evolving, and now I'm like, okay, something is happening. I don't know if it's because I'm ready to have a kid.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, you know what? I really want to be good, mind, spirit, the whole thing, mind, body, and soul for my child when I conceive. So I think that's what's happening. But I've always had it in me. It's just, I think, the world, and it's like, you know, I've been navigating through it.
Yeah, and we're always just growing. It's like, just because you meditate, I always find this about me, what people expect me to be like, because I pray and I meditate and I share that online. It's like, I still get road rage. I still will. By the way, if you DM me something rude, there is a chance you're getting a voice note back that's not very nice. Like, you know, and so this duality of like, yes, I'm trying, but at the same time, that doesn't mean I'm going to be just air and bubbles and like happy and just flowers all the time. That's not life. Yeah. And so I think people, I think it's good to show people that, you know what? Yeah, I do pray, but I also like to throw it down.
Yeah, you know? I will defend myself if I need to.
Exactly.
You know, I'm like, don't mess with me. I love God. I'm like, you know, but yeah, see, you get it. You get me.
I do.
What is your sign, by the way?
Leo.
You're a Leo.
Yeah, what about you?
I'm a Cancer.
Oh, I have lots of Cancers in my life.
Really?
Yeah, good ones.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm a June Cancer. You know, we're a little different. I'm just kidding. You know, June and July, but we're all great.
My dad's a Cancer, and he is the most like one of the best people in my life. He is phenomenal, gentle, so awesome. Loving, kind.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we're very nurturing, as you know. Very you know, very emotional too. Like I got super emotional when you got here. But no, I'm just so grateful. I wanted to have this conversation with you and like show my listeners and like not feel not that I feel alone, because I know there's a lot of people like us. It's just for a long time I felt alone in my life because I was in a way misunderstood, because I didn't even understand what was going on, and with my spirituality and like being raised in a certain household and very restricted, and there's a lot of rules with religion and stuff. And then when I just kind of like got into this and I just started like I'm learning, and there's always room to learn. I love to learn. I feel like knowledge is definitely power, and like that's why I was like, I need to have her on so we can talk about everything.
Oh my God, thank you for trusting me with your community. That is so sweet of you to even like invite me on, honestly.
Absolutely. And I would love to have you on again if we could. There's so much to talk about.
I know.
Okay, so A Good Cry, your podcast. Tell us a little bit about your podcast, anything. Tell my community.
So it's called A Really Good Cry, and I called it that because I wanted people to start embracing emotions. I think I went through a big part of my life where I have always been very emotional, felt other people's emotions deeply, felt my own very deeply. And I would often hide it, especially the negative emotions. I'd be like, yeah, I'm happy, I'm this, I'm that. And I realized I was just constantly hiding behind this mask of pretending and not actually showing people how I felt, whether it was because I didn't want to put that burden on them or whether it was because I wanted people to feel like I was strong and independent and whatever it was. And then I started embracing my emotions, and I was like, God, I'm such a crier. I cry about everything. And I think it's really important to be able to just accept the ebbs and flows of emotions as you go through them. And so A Really Good Cry was just it was for me to feel like, when you come on, feel every emotion and feel it deeply. But also it's a space for, I have health experts on, I have friends on to just talk about everything to do with life. It's a space you can come, put your feet up, drink a Junie, and just have really good conversation. And again, learning. Like, I think as soon as I think I know enough, that's when I know I've got too much ego in my life. Like, when you decide to stop learning is when there's something going wrong.
For sure.
And so I definitely, I like you, I love learning about every single part of life to do with health, wellness, people that I would have never thought I would have connected to coming on the podcast, and I realized how wrong I had it about them, like how much I wanted to learn from them. And so it's changed my perspective on people, but also helped me to just connect to people that I would never normally speak to and learn from.
Podcast is so awesome.
Right?
I love it. Like, I always come, even if I'm like not having a great day or I'm not feeling good, I come here and I forget about everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's like therapy for me, where I could this is just so healing.
And you get things out of it. Like, I say things in podcasts and in good conversations like this, where I was like, God, I didn't even know I had that in me. Or, oh my goodness, I didn't even know I felt that way. And so I think it allows for this. I think it's such a beautiful first date to like get to know you like this, because we get to ask questions we probably would never ask each other.
Yes, it's true.
Sitting here with a microphone.
Just talking and like literally I'm so glad we were finally able to like make it happen.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And if you can please, before you go, can you please share your Instagram with us?
Oh yeah, Radhi Devlukia. That's it.
Yes. And anything else? You have your cookbook, we said, Joyful.
Yeah. Joyful, Junie.
You guys, I'm not even joking. I put them on my Instagram a few times. I came across them. I don't remember how, to be honest. I don't remember how. But I came across them, and I love them, and I highly recommend them. And there's like, anyways, but I love it because you're an entrepreneur, you're a self-taught cook, a nutritionist. And I love watching your stuff. You're so hilarious too.
Thank you.
You are so funny.
Oh my God, thank you. I love a bit of laughter. I feel like everything is received better when you have a bit of laughter in your life. But I need to get you on my podcast, because I feel like we need part 2 of this. Okay?
We do. Absolutely. I would love to. It would be a complete honor.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to come and bring us light here onto Chiquis and Chill. Let's do it. Part 2.
Can't wait.
On A Really Good Cry. You guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope that you learned. Again, thank you for coming on to grow, to learn, to become a better you. All of us, all together, because this is always a note to myself as well. As I'm speaking to you guys, I'm speaking to myself. So just know that I love you and I appreciate you. And I'll see you on the next episode of Chiquis and Chill. Bye.
Yay.
This is a production of iHeartRadio and My Cultura Podcast Network. Follow us on Instagram at My Cultura Podcasts, and follow me, Chiquis, that's CHIQUIS. For more podcasts from iHeart, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your favorite shows.